connections. And we've kind of learned that that's what it's about more than actually getting ourselves out there to the right coaches. It's these people we come across and the connections we make really push us along. We didn't have the funds to do this. And we're all business majors, me and my partners. We're not engineers, so we couldn't make this by ourselves. And the more we put ourselves out there and got in front of people, the more it started to fall in place. And we found our engineer just by talking to people and through friends. We found our developers that are with us right now. We found them through talking to people and just like going over to University of South Florida and meeting people. And they've all jumped on the team and worked for free just because they like the project and want to help out. And that's been a huge help because while our team just got investment, actually last week it was finalized. So we got an investment, which is awesome, but we couldn't have gotten to the point of getting that investment we had about $5,000 or $6,000 to run off of for 9 months. And that's not nearly enough in most cases. So that grassroots marketing was definitely the biggest factor. Like, I know Nick was telling me or asked about pitching all the time because that's by far my favorite, is the public speaking, pitching aspect. And I think between last November and now, I've probably given close to 100 pitches on LiftSync alone, just because you never know who's sitting there watching you. There was times when there was 2 people that wanted to hear about it, and then times when there was 300 in the room. And every time somebody comes up after and is like, oh, I do X, Y, and Z and would be glad to help you. So our logo was done for free because somebody was interested. Our website was designed for free because somebody was interested and wanted to help out. So really the marketing and just really word of mouth and who you know is a huge aspect of it. So I don't know, are there any specific points you'd like me to touch on within the grassroots?
Yeah, so can you explain a little bit more about how you were able to make connections for free? Because I think that's really important about, the logo and the website. Did you specifically target people for that, or did it just happen organically?
So a lot of it was competitions, like going to, actually we got started out of Startup Weekend. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's so we went to Startup Weekend, Tampa Bay, kind of pitched the idea. We won that and went on to start the global startup battle. And we actually ended up taking first place in that as well. So we got some traction from that. But that really showed us like, hey, we should do some competitions, 1, to raise a little bit of money, and 2, the judges at those competitions are always bigger named people from Tampa, and they're willing to help out. So one of the judges from Startup Weekend, who still helps us out with software, like I said, for free, and is just now starting to put in an actual bid for software, he helped us get to this point because he saw us at Startup Weekend. And so he just saw us there, liked the idea, and we went up to him after and we're talking to him, and he called us and said, hey, why don't you come out to my office and we'll talk about getting you some software and getting you moving in the right direction. And a lot of them are very understanding that as a startup, you don't have funds. You don't really have a monthly budget to run off of. It's, if you can scrape together a little bit of money, that's great. But so a lot of them are helping us just because they've been there and know that they can. But really, it's getting us out there in competitions, or there's something here called 1 Million Cups, which is every Wednesday morning, startups from the area gather and just pitch their ideas and talk about where they are or the obstacles they're facing. And it's early in the morning, so people go before work and they'll sit there and give advice and come up and offer to help. So all of the resources are always there. It's just you have to be willing to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and go pitch in front of a few hundred people.
Right.
So that's kind of what we started to find out, was all of the opportunities were there, and there was definitely places we could go get this idea out and talk to people about it. We just had to be willing to actually go do it.
Yeah, I do have a question for you. One of the things that the students are going to be, or these young entrepreneurs that are going to be studying today, is really how do you define your audience? So for example, your wristband can be used, throughout fitness everywhere, right? You use extends and stuff, but you really focus on a niche market. Can you talk about your journey on that?
Yeah, so when we started, it was an idea that we were going to do exactly what Fitbit did. We wanted everybody to be wearing these wristbands and go to the gym. But one of the issues was we have technology that goes on the weights themselves. So we kind of started realizing we have to market to the gyms, and that's going to take forever and go sale by sale. And that's when we came up with our market of college teams or professional teams, because we can sell them as a package deal. Like LSU is our biggest client right now, and they buy 400 wristbands at a time, which is a much easier sale. But other than that, if LSU has it in their gym, their biggest competitor or rival, Alabama, automatically reached out to us because now they have to have it too. Which, that's really nice. So that really ties into the grassroots there, where that's why we went with this market, because we saw by getting it into a few select gyms, everybody else feels like they need that competitive edge too. Whereas I can sell Lifestyle Fitness, which is just a family gym here in Florida. I can sell them and finally make the sale after a year. And then Crunch Fitness doesn't actually care that it's in Lifestyles. But by making the sale to LSU, like I said, Alabama wants it, and it just starts a chain reaction, which is the exact same in professional sports. None of them want to lose a competitive edge or let the other teams have a higher competitive edge. So by making a few little sales, all of a sudden it diffuses through the market by itself. And that's really why we went with that market first.
Great. Hey, so we have a few here, and we have 10 more minutes. I know that we have hard stop at 9:40. What I'd like for each one of them to do and think about it is ask a question for you. So Laura, do you mind asking a question first, and then we'll go down the row and see what we have, so that we can just talk more a little bit about what you have, so we have 10 more minutes.
Hi, Matt.
Hi.
So some of the teams that we're working with, they still are they have a really good idea for a product.
Right.
How do you get people to believe in your product, and what is the sort of information that you give them so you can kind of get them on board and get them to maybe give them some resources and help?
Right. So it was definitely difficult since we were going with a hardware product in the beginning, but just making sure, especially as students or younger people, it's easy to get help, as opposed to once you graduate college, people aren't as willing to help. But just reaching out to people in the community and letting them know what you're doing and seeing if they'll help is huge. Our engineer is from Tampa. He has a full-time job, but still meets with us every weekend to help us out with our product, just because we asked. And we now have started paying him, but he worked for 6 months for free because he liked the idea and wanted to help see it through. Now, in the beginning, one of the hardest parts was taking the good with the bad, per se, because you have so many people telling you. The biggest complaint was people telling us we're crazy, we should not manufacture or produce our own product, we should license with Fitbit or somebody like that. And we didn't like that. So really, you definitely have to take advice of the people around you when making a product, because in most cases they know more about it than you do. But if you really believe in your product and you love what you're doing, that's okay to still pursue it if some people tell you it's not how they would be doing it. And it took us a while to learn that. We were in limbo of, do we license it with Fitbit? Do we go to Under Armour, or do we make it ourselves? And once we really stuck with, hey, we want to do this ourselves, we decided, or we found out that it was possible and we were capable of doing it. We just had to make sure we stuck with it. I think that answers your question. I got on a little tangent there.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question, and then you're going to be next, and then you. Okay? So my question is, what do you think these young entrepreneurs, they're all young and probably in middle school, and what do you think that their advantage is? What would you market as a young entrepreneur in their case?
So you said what their advantage is being like in the middle school? Yeah, definitely how much everybody is willing to help, like I was saying. Everybody wants to help younger entrepreneurs and see it succeed. I've found, especially if you are from, for instance, I'm born and raised in Tampa. I now live in Tampa. And so everybody that works here in Tampa wants to see me stay here. So they're willing to help to try to almost court me to stay here. So really asking for help, and also just when you're younger, you don't have to be as afraid of starting something where, you know, you don't have to quit your job or be afraid that you're not making money. So kind of just being able to do whatever you want with a lot less risk is incredible. And that's why that's my situation as well right now. It's just a huge help not having to worry, well, if my product doesn't sell, I don't get to eat. So really just kind of pushing that out of the way and saying, I'm going to go for it because right now is honestly one of the best times to do it. I'm young, nothing to worry about on the side. And also just really seeing something through and sticking with it. I tried so many projects in high school that I lost interest in after a month. And this is the first one where after that month where the glamour kind of goes to the side, I stuck with it, and it's so much better. And it actually feels like as long as you stick with whatever your idea is, you can make it work. So
that is great advice, Matt. Thank you. What about your question?
How did you, or where do you get your resources from?
It cut out a little bit at the end there. What was that?
Where do you get your resources for the product?
Yeah, so right now, all of our resources are actually from Colorado. Everything for our bands, like all of our technology, it all comes from Colorado. My engineer's good friend makes us all little batches of it. In the future, in the beginning, we're going to get all of our products and resources overseas for the first year. I personally am not very good at all of the procurement side, so I have a team member who goes over to China and does all of that for me. And then after that, we're moving it to Florida once we actually get a little bit more funding, and we're going to get all of our resources inside of Florida and have them manufactured here so that we keep it in the same state and close to us.
Good. Next question.
What inspired you to make your product?
So there's a long story behind this, but the short version is after high school, I took a year off to pursue a career in basketball. And I was supposed to go play basketball for a bigger school. And I ended my career with an injury. So I broke my leg in the middle of the season and couldn't play anymore. So we found out it was because of overuse in the weight room. So my friends and I got together some years later, and my friend told me he didn't like logging his workouts. So we combined him not wanting to log workouts with me getting hurt in the weight room. So it kind of does a easier form of logging your workouts to help that side, and then very accurate like measurements of workouts. So if I had this on my gap year for basketball, I would have been able to know that I was overworking and know what I was doing wrong and been able to fix that and not have gotten injured. So we're very big on making sure that every athlete is able to see their career through. So they're not sitting there thinking, well, what if I went pro? What if I played in the NFL? This helps with all of that and make sure that they have no regrets and see it all the way through.
How do you recommend I spend my time? Do I spend a lot more time developing the product, or should I just have a lot of sponsors and investors?
So my job is definitely more on the dealing with investors and business side and coming up with like the marketing plan and how we're going to roll this out, where I also do meet with the people who develop it, but I don't do the development. So I'd say the majority of my time is kind of mapping everything out and making sure that when I hand it off to the person with that expertise, they know exactly what I'm looking for, because it's always hard for me to just tell somebody my idea and then be in my head and know what I'm doing. Whereas if I map it out really in depth and hand it off to my engineer, it's almost like he knows exactly what I'm looking for to the T. So like yesterday, I spent 8 hours with my team mapping out exactly how we want our software to look, so that when we go to the software development company, they know exactly what we're looking for right off the bat, and it doesn't take extra time. So definitely more business side than development.
Thank you. Matt, you've been extremely helpful. Do you have any more questions? You good?
I like that.
Okay, yes. So one of the dads here has a question. He's helping. I'm in totally stick with. Go right ahead.
Hello, Matt. We work in the industrial world. We do a lot of work with robots and
Right.
interesting product fish. I'm thinking of other areas of opportunity in industrial application, and so probably not enough time here to talk about it, but I'd like to understand what the product. I'll search you, seek you out, but I think there's other products beyond what you've been focused on here in other real world industrial applications that could be interesting.
Yeah. Did you ask if there were others, or were you saying, sorry, you cut out a little?
I see that there are other opportunities
Yeah.
the world that I work within. So we do a lot of work
Right.
with automation, but we also do a lot of work with manual assembly and other types of activities. So this takes me, triggers some ideas, a thought process there that there could be other spin-off opportunities.
Yeah, it's actually, we've seen a few really cool ones like this. There's one called, I think it's Angel, and it's a wearable fitness band just like ours, except you wear it all day and it tracks all of your vitals. So when you go to the doctor, you give it to them, and everything about your days over a long period of time is directly downloaded to their system. So it's almost like they get a lot more in-depth information about you than a doctor normally would from their snapshot visit. It's really interesting. We've seen a ton of cool ones popping up around here.
Oh, really? Thank you.
You've been really helpful, Matt. Thank you today. So just so that you guys know, Nick Onager, who works with Mentor Lab, this is his friend, Matt, and he helped connect us today. And so he was really excited about the opportunity to speak with you all and help you guys to continue to encourage your product and stay focused. So Matt, everything that you said today hit the nail on the head. It's exactly what we're going to continue to focus on in our workshop today. So thank you so much for your time.
Oh, no problem. Feel free to reach out to me whenever. If I'm not working, I will easily answer all the emails. Any questions you have, if you need help, again, just let me know.
Thank you.
Yeah. You want to go one more question?
One last question, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many did you get last?
You said how much funding?
Yeah. Did you get last week?
We received about 350,000 in funding. So that's our, thank you. Yeah, so we're excited about that, and we have some room to move forward now. So
Fantastic.
Good job.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Enjoy your brunch. I know you have a brunch.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I get to go meet my girlfriend, so I'll see you later.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, look who it is.
$1,000, not bad.
Because he kept it to it. So
Persistence.
let's go ahead and